Hello, this is Gene. I want to talk about something, but first I just want to say thank you to those people that gave me some well wishes after my diagnosis a couple of weeks ago, and the video that I talked about it. Just a little update on that, is I got my pathology back, and I do have low-grade cancer. It's like the lowest one it could be. So every 3 months I have to be scoped. So that'll be fun. Go inside my urethra and go and look at my bladder, make sure nothing's coming back. So I have to do that for 2 years, and after that I should be okay. Now, from what I look online, that it usually comes back about 70% of the time. It's very possible that I'll have this surgery, the TURB that I talked about in the previous video. Could have it a couple times. But it's the lowest possible thing it could be other than being benign. Although it is kind of a benign type of thing. It's just cells that just mutate. It didn't go into the walls, which is good. Once it starts doing that, then it could be almost deadly at that point. So, like I said in my video before, something like this, when you feel something different going on, don't be a man, don't be a woman, or whatever. Just do what you have to do. Go to the ER. If you don't get what you get from that, if it keeps going on, just keep going back and back and back. Always be an advocate for yourself. Okay, what I want to talk about today is a video that I saw about, I'm going to try to say her name, it's hard for me to say, Roman, I might be able to say it, Roman Millennials. She has a YouTube channel. I guess she's a little bit conservative, very nice looking girl. Well spoken. She's had different people on her shows, so it's a nice thing to go to and listen to. She just had a nice 3.3-part series with Richard Spencer. I thought it was really well done, other than the fact there was some audio issues with it. I think that she's very fair and allows people with different opinions to voice their concerns or opinions, and then what she has to say, and it goes on and on. So she's not very confrontational, which is a good thing in this world. Most people do this stuff. They have to be that way because they think that sells. She's done well. She's got over 100,000 people that subscribe to her. I would say that probably the most people that watch her are probably people a lot younger than me. So, although obviously, I mean, she's a nice looking girl, and somewhere on YouTube you have because it's a visual representation, media, that you're going to get guys are going to be more involved to look at it. And like I said before, she's a nice looking girl, and she says a lot of things that guys say, and so she's going to attract guys that are going to watch her. But this last video that she did, and that's what I'm responding to. She was talking about pro-choice and pro-life. This great debate that we've had for, I don't know, since Roe v. Wade had been settled in the Supreme Court. Really, it stems from what happened with Tomi Lahren, another conservative girl that I somewhat like, although I don't really like with her hands so much. So obviously, both of these girls have a nice future in front of them. They're going to be champions regardless. No matter what I say here, if I'm against her in some way, they're going to be conservatives or white knights that are going to come back, because that's what guys do, and defend her no matter what she says. And I'm not attacking her in any way. I just want to point out something that I think it's very clear that nobody wants to talk about. So Tomi Lahren, as most people know that watch this channel, said some stuff in The View, and she used the fact that she's a libertarian, so she has to be pro-choice. And what Roman did is try to look at it from a libertarian point of view. Now, I'm not a libertarian. Okay, I think that when you become a quote-unquote libertarian, then you probably have no common sense at that point. As we know, the guy that ran for office the last time, we found out that he is kind of a doof. And, well, people would say that about Trump as well. But at least he started his own company and everything. I don't want to get a Trump bashing because I voted for the guy. So the issue that I have with it, and I watched, it's only 6 minutes long, so I'm not going to sit there and, I'm in 5 minutes already, but I'm not going to sit there and attack her for 6 hours or 60 minutes. This is a 6-minute video. She clearly said that the debate about abortion can't be settled or really even talked about in 6 minutes. So I agree with her on that. But I think that what most people do, and what she did here that she didn't really do either, is that we have this, we can talk about from a libertarian point of view, and I think at the end of the day that I think that she is pro-life, and she can look at her libertarian values and say, this is why I can be that way, or constitutionally I'm pro-life. And I could see from that point of view, my issue has been and has been since I made this change years ago, that we still as a society are still not making women responsible for what they do. It gets old and old. It says that, well, it had to be 2 people to start the baby, so it's not the woman's fault. It is never the woman's fault in how our society looks at it. At least half of all men are still blame men. They're going to get a woman pregnant. And 90% of all women will say it's not their fault. And they've been taught this way from birth, that it's not their fault. Now, in the old days, it wasn't looked at as a good thing when you got a baby when you weren't married. They would make you go to a place and have the baby and come back, and sometimes you would have the baby with you, or they would put it up for adoptions. But you know what they didn't do? They didn't abort the baby. Okay, they realized that at the end of the day, it was a mistake that the female made, and that you don't kill the baby because of what the female did. Now, in the last 40 years, our society decided saying it's never the woman's fault. It's always either the state's fault or patriarchy or the man's fault. And so we have to allow the women to do whatever they want to do. So what women have done in the last 40 years is they realized in this country that, you know what, I can wait to the very end to have this abortion. I'm not going to have birth control. I might even have it right there next to me in my medical cabinet. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. And nobody will call them out on it. Well, this is not what this is what this channel is about. I am going to call out women on it. There is no reason why that we have to have over 1 million abortions a year. Yes, a very small amount of abortions is from rape or incest. It is nothing compared to how many are just doing it for birth control. And until we actually have this debate, and I've seen it, and I've read about it, and I put it on my videos, but nobody cares, because we still in this society look at women that they're not responsible. So sometimes when I see these militant feminists, this happened a couple years ago with the whole Virginia thing, and the woman said that, one of these feminists said that everybody hates women. Well, that's not really what the truth is. The truth is that society in general, or the people that make the laws, don't trust women. So they realize that we have to do all these little fail-safes for women because you just can't trust them. Yes, it takes two men. It takes 2 people to have a baby. But where is the responsibility in any of this on females? Either way, the state's going to come in and allow you to get an abortion, or if you have the baby, if the father is not paying for it because the state owns that. Men don't have any reproductive rights in this country. So you get money from that, or you get it from the state, and women know they can do this. And the society says what happened was 50 years ago, that was archaic, that we took the woman back to a place where they could have a baby and either have the baby or put up for adoption. That was, I don't know what that was. Was that slavery to a female? To have to go to a place where they'll take care of the baby and it'll take care of you? Because probably what you did there, having sex when you're under 16 years old, it was probably not a good idea. But we changed it so far the other way that the entire society just wants us to just say, yeah, it's fine. And you know what? And if you're in 20 weeks long, and fuck it, I'll just have an abortion. Because we don't care about the baby at all. I mean, who cares about that? And all the white knights or people who are liberal just look at that and say, well, it's her body, her choice. Well, okay, if it's her body, is there any responsibility at all during this time? Or is it just the state has to take care of it? I mean, it becomes, so from a constitutional perspective, I will argue that pro-life is the way to go. Now, again, I've been on both sides of this, but that's not really the issue here. The issue is if women were more responsible, if they took their birth control, if they ensured that the man that they're having sex with had a comment on, there would be less than 1,000 abortions a year. It just would be, because these things, oh, it's not foolproof. proof. It's 99.9%. If everybody used it, if the guy was using with a condom, if the woman was on birth control, we wouldn't have this many abortions. It just wouldn't happen. So then it would be, okay, there's 1,000 a year. Let's say 20% of those are rape, and the rest of it's going to be, early on termination. Although people who are pro-life would be still probably against that. It wouldn't be this national issue that devolves our politics, that becomes the #1 issue when it comes to women's rights, when it clearly is not a women's rights issue. It's, at the very least it would be human rights issue for the fetus inside the woman. The woman, if it's your body, then just take care of yourself, be responsible, and ensure that the man you're with is putting a condom on. So again, this is not, I waited. Okay, the big thing that I want to get back, that I want her to see this, if she ever sees it, and obviously I only have over 100 prescribers. She has, 1,000,000 than me. Okay, but she had an opportunity there. It could have been 30 seconds. She could have said, well, all this is, we had this debate about whether it's libertarian or not. But I just wish that a person that has her purview, that has her subscriber base, that she might have actually said at the end, women, when you're having sex, make sure that you're on birth control or you have condoms. And I've said several times, because people are going to white knight her if I say this, I think that condoms should be free. I think pregnancy tests should be free. Everything that a woman has access to should be free when it comes to this. So at the end of the day, we're not aborting fetuses. That a guy is not having to pay for trial support to a kid that he had no idea that he fathered, or the state is having to take care of it. Welfare. I mean, there's so much that goes on here. It's abortion and losing the value of human life, or the fact that we bring babies into this country that are in very bad areas and they have no fathers and that type of thing, and how it's related, and how the state has to pay for all this. The taxpayers have to pay for it if the kids don't do well, and they end up being in the other part of this society where they're being institutionalized in the jail system. And I've talked about this many times before. Anyway, again, this was not an attack to her. I like her videos. I think that she had a real opportunity here. If she's going to bring it up, that she could have said at the end of the day, we could have this debate, either it's constitutional or libertarian, but women need to be responsible. Because if I say it, obviously I'm a misogynist man. And I responded on her video, and of course the first person that came back, it wasn't a man or a female, it was a man. And he's like, well, we could do this and all that stuff. And I tried to explain to him that that's not how the real life works. It just doesn't. Women have been taught this for the last 40 years, that it's not ever their fault in any type of circumstances. But then they want to be empowered all the time. So here's this woman that has this following, that she has this time to do it, and could have put 20 seconds at the end of her thing and saying, we've had this debate. Obviously, this is not long enough to have that debate. I just wanted to say this. But ladies, just be responsible. And if we have women like her, and it keeps going on and on and on, and we continually say this, instead of saying, not at the end of that, and I'll say it's a man's fault or something like that, or two for this and all that stuff. If it's your body, be responsible. That's it. Thank you for listening to my video, or watching me. My bad look today. And again, thank you for the well-wishers after my bladder cancer scare. And I'll be back again. If you have any comments, leave it below. We can have this conversation. And just look at a different, if you can, just look at it from a different a point of view. We want to help women so much that sometimes we cloud our judgments. If they are really at the same level as men, and which they should be. Obviously, there are differences, but if the state makes men responsible for having a baby, women need to be responsible to make sure that whether they want that baby or not, and not just use some sort of stupid thing to abort it because you weren't responsible when it was going on. All right. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day.